Let's start looking at quadratic inequalities and something a little bit more in detail. So what I've got here is I've got a really pretty quadratic inequality right here. Now remember, this is going back to that old form that we learned way back in chapter 3. Yep, you got it. This is that quadratic equation form that we used. And remember, P and Q is, of course, our vertex. So if you look back on this thing, you'll see that P is right here. That's 4. So our vertex, in fact, is 4. And here's our minus 2. So it's 4 minus 2 is our vertex. So I just happen to have a really nice grid here. And let's start plotting this thing right on the grid. Okay, 4, negative 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. There's our first point. Now, the other thing here is the hardest part is trying to figure out which way does this graph open. Obviously, the A is the thing that tells us which way it opens. If it's positive, remember, our graph is opening upwards, right? So our graph opens this way. Boom. If it's negative, it opens down. So if you look at this, it is a positive value, so our graph is opening up. So let's clean this up a little bit so we can actually see the numbers again. This is opening upwards, so we know it's going to do something like this. It's going to go up this way. But again, what are these values here? Well, that's where you have to turn around and you have to start using your nice little solving. So remember, our y equals to 0 because we're talking about roots. We're talking about when it hits that x-axis right here. So our y is actually equal to 0. So let's solve this. This is 0 equals to x minus 4 squared, okay, minus 2. Bring the 2 over into the other side. There we go. You got x minus 4. And that's going to be squared. And now square root. So you're going to get an ugly number. Square root of 2 is about 1.4 or so. 1.4, 1.2, something like that. So that's going to give you x minus 4. And don't forget, you had that plus or minus. That's that nice little plus or minus factor that we have to put in there all the time. So add 4 to this side, add 4 to this side. So you're going to get somewhere in the neighborhood of x equaling to about 2 point something, 2.6. And of course, somewhere around 5.4. Those are your two values. So 2.6 and 5.4. So I was pretty close by putting it here. And about here, that looks pretty darn decent. And then upwards. All right. Now, here's the other problem with this. Look at this. Don't forget that we had just a greater than sign. In other words, we don't have an equal to sign. So actually, you know what? I drew it wrong. Ha! Look at that. Let's go back and do it again. Our vertex, 4 minus 2. Good thing we wrote it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. But now, because it's just greater than and not equal to, we have to put a dotted line. You got it. So it's going to look something like this. But what does greater than mean? Greater means anything above the graph. So you would shade in this area. So it looks really messy, but you get the point here. Let's put this parabola down in a different color. There we go. Now you can probably see it a little better. There it is. Awesome. So anything that is greater than that. So here comes the next question. It says, does 2, 1 satisfy this inequality? Well, the way I drew it, 2, 1, it looks like it's right close to the edge. Who knows? It could be in this section in here, or it could be out here. You have to figure out, does this actually satisfy the inequality? Well, here's an easy way to do it. Simply just go back to the original inequality. Let's erase it and let's see the whole thing there. Y is got to be greater than x minus 4 squared minus 2. Let's substitute those numbers in there. Okay, so x is 2. 2 minus 4 squared minus 2, is that greater than 1? I don't know. Let's go check it out. 2 minus 4 is minus 2 squared minus 2. Minus 2 squared is 4 minus 2. That equals to 2. Is 2 greater than 1? No, it's not. So it's outside of this parabola. So the parabola comes down like this. This point is outside the parabola, and it does not satisfy the inequality. Ha, ha. So with that, oh my goodness, look at this mess. Let's go take a look at the next question. Take a look at this question. Let's see if we can do it together. Well, first things first in this question, probably the thing that I would do is you have to find the vertex of this thing. Okay, let's find the vertex. Well, how do we do that? We can easily punch it back into our calculator and find the minimum value. Or better yet, you know what I would do? Oh, simple. I would, yes, complete the square. Yay! Okay, so let's get to it here. Here's that y equals 2. Remember, factor out the negative. So this is going to give you x squared minus 2x. And don't forget then that that plus 4 is out here now. Magic number. Remember this? Half of this becomes our magic number. There it is. Boom, boom, boom. That's our magic number. We take it, we put it into here, right? We square it, so it becomes plus 1. So remember, we subtract a 1 out here, but don't forget, lo and behold, look right here. There's that negative. Remember that negative was mailman to every single one of these guys. So that means out here, you multiplied by the same negative. Oh boy. Now, what do we have? We have y equals 2. There's that negative, same guy, all right? X minus the magic number squared. And now, don't forget, you had a 4 plus a negative 1. So this has got to be a 5. And lo and behold, there's our vertex. Now, if you can't remember how to do that, I really encourage you to go back to the podcasts in chapter 3 and 4 and remember how to complete the square. That is absolutely vital. Okay, so let's hurry up here and let's see what we got. We have x equals to minus 1. So, of course, x equals to 1. And 5. There's our beautiful little vertex. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the dot. Now, where does it intersect? Well, you know what? Let's figure out the intersection point, and it's going to be ugly because, of course, it's opening down. I don't know where the zeros are, and you know what? Frankly, at this point, I don't really care. I want to show you that we are looking at something that is smaller. So obviously, if it's smaller, it's got to be shaded this way. If you want to actually find out these zeros, you know what? Figuring out the zeros is really, really simple. All you got to do is just pop it into your calculator, you're going to get it. And this is exactly what it's going to look like. It's going to be shaded in this direction. So here's what I want to show you. Look at this. Don't forget, it's equals to. So in fact, this is a, look at that, baby. It's a solid line. The solid line gives you that little equals value there, okay? What I want to show you too is, okay, if you don't know how to find these little values, I've got it booted up in the calculator right here. Boom. I put the value in already. I'm going to hit graph, okay? And there's my nice little parabola, which looks exactly, well, no, not really exactly, but pretty close to what I've got drawn here. Let's find these roots. So you'd go second calc. Here we go. Let's find the zeros, 2. Let's find this one over here, left bound. Beautiful. Oops. Okay, enter. Let's find this one. Enter. Excellent. Boom. Guess, of course. Yes. And look, it is negative 1.23. So we're going to get an ugly number here. Negative 1.23. Okay. Find the other one real quick, and then let's call it. Second calc. Oops. Second calc. I'm going to find the 0. Okay. Now we can do it. Let's go, thing. There it is. Let's find another 0. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Here it is. Enter. Find the other bound. Enter, enter, and we've got 3.23. So I was a little off in my graph. It should have been right about there. Perfect. So there's our actual line, 3.23. So that's basically how you go out and do something like that.